Hello there everybody, this is Krista and welcome back to the Krista Chronicles, and we are back with part 2 of the deck declutter that I've been doing. So, we're working our way. I'm organized this time. I actually went through and selected, I've got eight decks to look at today. Not a ton, I don't know, but that's just what I selected out, and brought out the decks that I really love, that feel like they kind of like hold the space of the one I'm questioning. So yes. What am I thinking? Oh, as a preface, I think I said last time that I would link my Mercari page. One, forgot to do that. Two, I probably am not really gonna like list any of these up until all of this is done, so I can just do it in one shot. But also, not all of them are going to get like immediately put up for sale. A lot of them will probably end up in my little timeout bin, which is just where I put things, so that way I'm not rushing to rehome. But they've got a spot to be, so that way I know I'm questioning it. Yeah. So that's that. So I'll definitely update with, that link whenever the last video is. I don't know. There's still quite a lot of decks to get through. So, let's get started. We're going to start with an easy one for me. The Kitchen Witch Oracle by Jenna Della Grataglia. This is kind of a newer deck. And I'm kind of sad about it. How cool. Like, I saw pictures of this and thought it was so interesting looking that I just immediately bought it, not knowing it wasn't really like a true oracle per se. It is a spell deck in the way of like it is meant to, like, these cards in the book, there is like the recipe to make it. There is no divinatory meaning other than this bit on the bottom, which I've tried using the deck like just with the thing on the bottom. And some of the cards, like, yeah, it makes sense. Some of it doesn't, though. Is that true? Wait a second. Did I try that? I remember I'm having the memory of trying that, and like, whatever the phrasings, it's like they weren't making sense to me. But now I'm reading them and I'm like, why? I mean, something like this with the and maybe that's just because like the concept of manifestation to me does, not that it doesn't make sense, I just like don't, it's not my thing. I don't quite, it is such a abstract idea that my particular brain just cannot process that. So like with this beautiful cat, with every breath I synchronize with the timeless wisdom that courses through me and the abundant energies I manifest within and around. That doesn't, like, it just doesn't mean much to me. But then something like this, radiating a protective aura over my cherished home, that means something to me. Hold on a second. Oh my god. Krista, what were you... I probably got so stuck on the fact that the... Hold on. This is why I love doing these kinds of videos, because how my specific kind of neurodivergence works is I heavily structure as much of my life as possible around rules, whether they are societal rules given to me on how to do things, and if there isn't, I will make up rules in my own head. for better or for worse. Not saying it's good, but that's just how my brain works. And so sometimes I will get stuck on, and there are rules that, like, it takes me a while to come around to being like, that's not real, you made that up. And sometimes I'm wondering if I had something going on in my head that I was like, okay, I've got this deck, but the guidebook, I always use a guidebook with my oracles. I always read the guidebook, but there's nothing in this guidebook. Oh gosh, like nothing usable for me, because you can see here, it's the recipe for the spell. And now I'm wondering if maybe I was so stuck on that the idea of just using the cards and what's on the cards didn't even occur to me. Because this deck is cool looking, isn't it? Alright. So I'll show you anyway the deck I was going to compare it to, but now I absolutely need to keep trying this. So the Kitchen Witch, and what I thought I was going to get was something more like the Green Witch Oracle, which I absolutely love. And this is a very classic oracle where you've got the object and you've got a keyword, and we go into the guidebook, it expands on the keyword, and that's what I was thinking this deck was going to be. But now that I'm thinking about it and looking at them together, one, that's a cool pairing, is it not? Two, I'm actually glad that's not what it does, because how many decks can a girl have where it's an object and keyword? I've got many. I made one of my own. You know what, like, we're good on that front. This is something different. Oh gosh. And now, like, wouldn't that be a cool thing? Like, even to pull it by itself, of like when you're feeling like you're needing something extra, and maybe you're someone like me who you don't really do spell work. Maybe the card can be the stand-in. Oh, okay. Wow. Well, okay, we're keeping this one. See, this is, I love doing this in video form. Like, really. I was just watching Thea's latest one, and she was saying how, like, she wants to get her hands on every deck. And yeah, it's making me want to now, Okay, I think we're going to go through these decks that I pulled out for the declutter, but this might be leading into a collection series as well, because that's making me also want to, like, get my hands on every single deck. Because sometimes just looking at them, like, just from the box doesn't do it. And that showed it with this, of like, sometimes I make up these, like, rules in my head, and they don't actually need to be there, and it makes me wonder, like, what else could I be doing that with? So, okay, that's exciting. Whole new perspective on this deck, especially since it's, like, a newer one. I gotta give it the time of day. And maybe it'll end up that still I prefer something like this, but it's worth a shot, no? Okay, great. Glad we talked that out. Okay, next up. What are you even called? Where's your name? What is your name? No? We're just not gonna... Okay. That's fine. What? Let's... Hold on. I've got another deck by this creator. Let's find this. The Delian Oracle. The Delian Oracle. Same creator as the Odyssean Tarot. So we've got the Greek mythology theme in an oracle form. Here she is. Beautiful. I was really excited to back this deck because I do really enjoy the Odyssean Tarot. Again, what I love about... Hold on, now I can remember the name of this creator. Welkin. Welkin Tarot is... Like I said with the Shakespeare, it feels like... This is totally my own perception. I could be so off base. But what their kind of collection of decks feels like to me is that we're getting to follow along on their current, like, almost like hyperfixation in a way. Which, again, I am totally, like, putting words, but also, like, I'm putting neurodivergent terms on a person I don't know, which I am aware I shouldn't be doing. But that's just my perception. Because with every single deck, you get such an extensive guidebook that it's like, you know, whoever's making it spent a really good amount of time researching. And it's like, the topics kind of go all over the place, and it's so fun. So I was excited to back this one, but I don't know. Something about it just doesn't feel the same as the Odyssean, and as I'm using it, also, the guidebook doesn't feel like it gives a ton. I mean, it does, but I think when I'm comparing it to that Odyssean tarot, that, like, you go really into the story, it just makes me wonder really if I need something like this. Because I've got that Odyssean tarot, if I want to get into Greek mythology. But then, this card. But then also, if I want an oracle that gets into Greek mythology, I've got the Hellenic Oracle by Thea herself that I've had for years. I love it to pieces. And if I'm pulling out a mythology, like when I was really thinking about it, I was like, if I'm going to pull out a mythology oracle, because I will say, like, that sort of thing, like, I have an interest in, like, in really all sorts of mythology. At the end of the day, the mythology I connect to on any sort of, like, personal, spiritual level, I guess you could say, is more so, like, that Celtic feel. But I do like Greek mythology, and so when I'm going to pull out a Greek mythology deck, it's going to be the Hellenic Oracle, because I love it so much. I think Thea did a great job. I love the experience of, as someone who doesn't know the stories inside and out, of getting to, like, I did it just this morning. I used this deck this morning. I pull up on my phone. I really like, I don't know how you say it. It's theio.com. I love that website. It gets into the stories. I love doing that, like, I don't know, 5 minutes of research whenever I pull a card, and then getting myself to pull a meaning out of the story, out of what the figure represents, is, I don't know, it feels so rewarding, and just, it tickles my brain in a certain way. Where this just feels very much like Oracle, you know what I mean? Which is fine. That's what it is meant to do, but I just don't really feel like it's ever going to get used over the Hellenic. Because at the end of the day, if I want Greek mythology, I'm going to use the Hellenic Oracle, and I'm going to use the Odyssean Tarot. So I think the Delian can go. I just don't see myself. I really don't. And that's okay. So, Hellenic, huge favorite, huge favorite. I love the little Moonlit Fae bag she's in. Slay. Delian Oracle, I think, is gonna go. Okay, this next one, I don't know. Guys, I don't know. This is one I'm not gonna be hasty about, but I've been having this feeling about it for, I don't know, quite some time. The Ritual Tarot. I don't, guys, I know. I think this deck is so cool. I really do. But there's a combination of things going on here, I guess is what I will say. One, I am just not, collage decks generally are not super my thing. I don't know the different styles of collage, but like, if I, like, to me, the collage deck for me is like anything by Lennox Reese. So like the Coastal Curiosities, Peculiar Pathways, I love those decks. When they've got that like vintage style feel, I'm on board. But something like, I don't know. And that to me, it's like they are collage, but they don't feel collage in the same way as something like this does. And like something like this just isn't generally my style. And so ultimately it just sits. It's when I always, like every time I think about it, I'm like, gosh, I really should use that. And I feel like I've come to learn that when that thought starts coming in my head, I need to consider some things, you know, like if I'm not being like, oh, I can't wait to use that, I don't know. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. Sometimes it's like I do need to push myself to give something the chance and end up really loving it. So, you know, I don't know. But there just isn't a huge pull with this one. And so what I brought out to compare it to is one that still doesn't get a ton of use, but I feel like kind of fits in the category. It's the Daydreaming in Situ. To me, these feel like on the same playing field collage-wise. And there is something about the Daydreaming in Situ that, I don't know, just I really, really like. I mean, yeah, even look at like there's similarity here. And it really isn't even anything to do with, so I had the original edition and then ended up replacing it with, I backed the Kickstarter to get the marked one where it's just got the card on the back. So it's nothing to do with the fact that, like, you know, this one is labeled right there and this one, like, you know, I can figure it out. But yeah, I don't know, to me it feels like they are sitting in the same space. The collage style feels very similar, and I don't know why, I don't know what it is, but the Daydreaming in Situ, I just, again, even though I don't use that one a ton, purely because this style of art is not like an energy I'm seeking out all the time. But when I do kind of think about using my collage decks, I get excited thinking about Daydreaming in Situ of like, oh yeah, like planning a like collage deck edit. Immediately I'm thinking When Olga Speaks with Daydreaming in Situ. I'm like, that, oh yes. Where I'm not really thinking about the Ritual Tarot at all. And I think that really says something. And looking at them side by side now, I'm like, yeah, okay. I think there's a lot of similarity here. And I just really like the Daydreaming in Situ. I like the border, I like the font, I like how big the words are. I don't know. I think it's as simple as that. Just something about the energy of the Daydreaming in Situ does something for me, where the Ritual Tarot maybe doesn't, and that's okay. That's okay. So, yes. I think that makes things up in my mind. Daydreaming in Situ, of course, going to stay, where Ritual Tarot, she's gonna go in timeout. I won't be hasty because she's a pricey gal, but I do think they kind of are a bit too similar. All right, excellent. Okay, next up. What do we call this? Oh, the Big Mice Tarot. So here's the story, the story with this one. Entirely my own fault. So I thought there is a graphic novel series, a children's graphic novel series called The Mouse Guards, and each book follows a different season of these Mouse Guard characters. They're so cute, and on first glance, here's the backs. When I first saw this deck, I was so sure. I was like, oh my gosh, it's the Mouse Guards. It's a tarot to go with the Mouse Guards. And I don't like the way that I was so convinced that I am a fact checker. Always. And so I am stunned to this day that I did not check. I couldn't have because I was so convinced. I bought the deck, it came in, and I was like, yep, that's it. Okay, let's get the Mouse Guard book so that I can read those. And I brought it home and I was like, well, no, this is not the same. What am I talking about? So it is a world, its own fantasy world that was made up for this deck. The mouse characters are so cute. And so I was like, no, we're gonna give it a chance. I need to reacquaint myself with this. But at the end of the day, something I don't quite understand is there is a world being built here, and I don't know if I am missing a story book that was supposed to go with it, but the card meanings jump right into the story of these mice without introducing them. So it's like I'm immediately getting these character names, but I'm like, I don't know who they are. And it's sort of like, I don't know, it kind of clouds the card meaning where sometimes I'm like, I don't really know that connects. It does, and again, maybe if I really knew the stories of these mice, I'd get it, but I can't figure out how to, if there is a storybook where I can get it, I don't know. I'm not understanding. So there is a blockage for me with this deck, for sure. Even though it is so cute, I love the mice. It makes me think of Tale of Despero. And maybe something I need to consider is well, I could just use it without the guidebook. Because even thinking of Tale of Despero makes me I love that book so much. But I don't know. There's a disconnect and a confusion when I'm using this deck because it uses character names that I don't know who they are though, you know? And so we've got that guy. And when I think about though, a deck with a fantasy world, a cute fantasy world, I think of the Magical Creatures Tarot. We all know how I feel about anything by this creator. I love so much, so much. And so when I want something that has a a storybook fantasy world, I'm gonna go for this. Or maybe even a more direct comparison would have been Northern Animal Tarot. And I don't see myself choosing the mice. Because I love these so much. Or even Force of Enchantment. A lot of my very favorite decks have that storybook fantasy feel. And so it's a category that I tend to be choosy with because I've got decks that I love so much in that category. And I just think the Big Mice Tarot just falls a little bit short for me when I compare. And it doesn't really feel like it necessarily adds something new because I don't really understand what's going on. You know what I mean? If anyone's got info on that, please let me know. Because I'd love to feel like I'm giving this the most fair shot I can, but I just feel like I'm missing something that I was supposed to have, and I don't know. So, yeah. As of right now, if I'm thinking about wanting a deck in that vibe, it's gonna be this one. So, Big Mice Tarot is gonna go into timeout. See if I can figure it out. But ultimately, I don't know. Just might not be it for me. And my beloved. Ugh! Fantastical Creatures. She has, I'm forgetting. It's Wilder Hearst Studios. I want to say her name is Linda, but that could be so wrong. Anyway, there's been teasing of a next deck, and I'm gonna lose my mind, because yes! How exciting. Yeah, okay. Okay. We're getting through. Next up, Untamed Spirit Animal Oracle. As is new, secret or surprise, I'm a big animal deck person. I really love animal decks. I'm gonna try them all. And this is one I've had for a very long time. It's good. I really like the setup. I think the art style is interesting. But you know what? Actually, the comparison I pulled out, I've got a better comparison. Hold on. No, I'm gonna pause because it might take me a hot second. Okay, got it. What was I saying? Oh, I don't know. There's just something about this one that I just don't feel drawn to use it. And again, like with a black and white deck, often they're not my thing usually. It has to be like, there has to be really something about it. And I just don't really feel that way with this one. Despite, like, I love the setup. I love this, like, creamy off-white color. But ultimately, if I want an animal deck that does not have color, like straightforward, you get like a sketch of the animal and a keyword, it's gonna be the Terra Oracle. Backs are so pretty on this one. Yeah, you see how it's like a similar feel. So you get the title or the name of the animal down here, and you get a keyword in this upper corner, which I love the setup of this one. It feels very different. And there are so many, there's 100 cards. So you also get tons and tons of animals. This is quite a good amount of cards as well. 50 cards. But to have like a kind of like pared down, sketchy, colorless animal deck, I don't feel like I need two of them. And I'm getting way more animals in this one. And the pure black and white tends to be like a little bit easier to pair than this particular shade of like a dark beige. And I love the book that comes with Terra. Oh, it's such a good book. So yeah, this is an easy one for me. Oh, I love this cat picture though. But, what I will say is that there is something to be said for the fact that like this is an indie, this is mass market. So if you do want a deck like kind of in this sketchy style, but maybe don't want to go for the indie, I think this is really comparable. And for a mass market Oracle, 50 cards is really great. And I enjoyed my time when I used it, but ultimately I'm just, now that I have this one, it just sort of took its place, and that's okay. So Terra Oracle, love. And the Untamed Spirit Animal Oracle, she's gonna go. right, we have 3 more to do today. Next up is the Golden Keys of Gaia Oracle. I have used this quite a bit. When I first got it, it was in one of my months for the Lion Hearts challenge and it came up a ton. I've paired it with the Unicorn's Journey Tarot and really just liked how they paired. But there is something about this deck that feels like a disconnect for me. And I think ultimately I don't feel a connection to the particular way the topic I think is done, because it's all about kind of like earth connection. And I think the way this deck goes about that is just not the way I tend to see that kind of thing. The art style, while beautiful, is just, it's not my thing. And again, beautiful pairing with Unicorn's Journey Tarot, but I've got other things to pair with that, and so it's not even like, you know, I've got other things I like just as much to put with it, so there's not really that going on. I don't know. While I did get some good readings out of it, there's something with the tone of the deck that just doesn't connect for me, doesn't click for me, and I don't really know how to explain it, but it's a whole concept of kind of, what did we have here? Discovering the golden keys, fostering a deeper connection with yourself, nature, and the world soul. Great Mother Earth. There's some things that it's like, I don't really connect with that concept, and that's okay. And so when I was thinking about this deck, I was like, no, this is always going to be like it had its time. I'm glad that I was able to explore it, but ultimately it's just, the messaging isn't for me, and that's okay. But when I think about a deck that kind of gets at that earth, like more spiritual side of that earth connection that I do really connect with, instantly thought of the Old Ways Magick Oracle. And as soon as I thought of that, I was like, no, we can let this one go, because I think it's just when it gets into like kind of the theme of the Oracle is aiming at kind of a spiritual topic. At the end of the day, it's for me anyway, it's like I need to be able to connect with what it is they're saying. And Old Ways Magick, like I said before, the Celtic mythology in there is a big yes for me. I love it. I do feel really connected to it. Where something like this, where I don't know how to I don't think I could put any sort of words to like what I think this viewpoint is. But I know it's just one I do not connect with. Despite how beautiful and well done I really do think this Oracle is. Like, again, hopefully it hasn't seemed like I am by any means bashing any of these decks, because I think if this kind of thing does connect with you, like, wow, it's so well done. But ultimately, what Earth connection looks like to me is this, not this. And that's all it comes down to. And I think we can leave it at that. Yeah. So, Old Ways Magick. Love her forever. And the Golden Keys of Gaia. She's gonna go. Okay. Next up, the Inspirational Visions Oracle cards. This is an interesting one because I have not had this deck long, but I put it into one of my lineups for the Lion Hearts challenge, and I don't know, like when I did use it, it came up quite a few times. It just, again, I don't know how how to put it into words that it just, something wasn't right for me with it. It's adorable. It is adorable, but something about, how do I say? Something about the kind of over-saturation, like it feels like all these images, they took the saturation and just put it all the way up. Something about that causes an odd feeling. Wait. Oh my god. How I was gonna phrase that just was gonna sound so crazy, but now we must continue. Causes an odd feeling of fear within me. I don't know what it is when I see pictures that have like this saturation filter all the way up. Like I feel a sense of fear. What is that about? And so something is like about this, even though again it's adorable. Like I wish I didn't feel that way. It causes me discomfort and so like, look at that bunny kid. What? But then beyond that, some of the messaging I just wasn't driving with. Like, yeah. It just doesn't feel for me. It doesn't feel like it's for me. And I cannot put my finger on what exactly it is, but it gives me a weird feeling, and it's just one of those things where I'm like, I need to trust the weird feeling. So, though, when I was thinking about that kind of like child, like inner child, bringing in like fairy tale reference kind of deck, bright, colorful, what I thought of is the inner child tarot, or is it cards? I know it's a tarot. The backs, so good. This deck is so big, but I love it so much. And then once I thought of this deck, and we'll see, now that I'm putting it together, I was like, oh, okay, no, I think they accomplish a very similar job. But this, I think it's, the art style in this, I love so much. No feeling, even though it is very saturated with color, it doesn't cause me that same feeling. Like, what is that about? Something about this art causes me, like, real genuine discomfort. What, like, theories? Anyone have a guess? I don't know. Except that is crazy. But crazy in a way that I'm like, it is so weird looking. No, I love it. That's why this experience is so alarming to me, because I can get down with something that's a little weird looking. But yeah, the tarot has lots of reference to different fairy tales and like nursery rhymes, things like that. So I feel like if I'm wanting that kind of mixed bag of where it's like very much inner child but brings in those fairy tale stories, this tarot I feel like does the same thing. I don't really need this guy over here. Ugh, like what? I'm being, see, but I do, like the art is beautiful. The skill needed to do this is high. But, gosh, I feel like that's something maybe to explore though. Like, why am I having such a visceral reaction to that? Anyway, so I think the Inspirational Visions is gonna go, because I can always use this inner child tarot. I'm questioning the name on that, but I think that's what it's called. I don't know. I'll discover what it is when I go to put the link down below. Okay, I've got one more pulled out today. That I actually also don't know the name of. Slay. Alright. But there's a book. There's a book inside this bag. Oh, it's the Daily Crystal Inspiration cards. This hurts because I do think a big reason I've kept it around so long is because look at this. Are you kidding with the bag match? But alas, I don't really use it. I used it a ton. In readings, I used to do with Andy, like I keep saying, we do the Lion Hearts challenge together now, but we used to just kind of do like a random daily reading, and we were using this for the longest time, and it was really good. But at the end of the day, like, I'm not a huge crystal person, and so this is just something I don't know, I just do not go to use it. I really don't. But it's a great crystal deck. There's a lot of cards. You get the real image of it with the name, and then you get a key phrase. Like, it's a great, straightforward oracle. But if I do want that crystal energy, I know what I'm going to use, and it's going to be the illustrated Crystallary. Crystallary. I don't know. I love these oracles so much. This art style is just something I can get down with. I love it. I think it's so beautiful. And so even though, again, crystals aren't hugely my thing, I love this oracle set so much that I do use this one. I love the art. I love and again, it's doing a similar thing where you get the name of the crystal and you get a key phrase. I just love it. It's so beautiful. And because I've got crystals, don't get me wrong, but I don't really go out of my way to get crystals. I don't really feel like I need the like real picture of it, you know? Okay, yeah, this solidifies, because I was kind of even questioning like, ooh, but maybe this will be a good one to take to work. But no, I think she can go. I think she can go. You know what? I might give her to my coworker who does love crystals. That sounds like a good plan. So, daily crystal inspiration cards. They're gonna go to a new home. I think Rachel's gonna love them. And you know what? I'll even keep it with the bag. That'll make me feel good. Because they're meant to be together, right? And if I want a crystal deck, this is the one that's coming out. So, okay. That is it. Those are all the pairs I had pulled out for today. So, I'll be back sometime soon with a part 3. There is still quite a bit to get through. We'll see. We did 8 this time. I'm aiming to get like close to 10 each video, because that's sort of where I start to hit my limit. But yeah, you know what? That's okay. We'll have many of these videos. It'll be a fun, good time. But other than that, I hope you're having a great day so far, and I'll see you again very soon.